Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon and get my merchandise. And of course, since today is a Fave 5, there will be links to all of the patterns that I discuss in this video. Fave 5 videos are where I pick a theme, oftentimes suggested by y'all, and what I do is I pick a topic often suggested by y'all, just like this one, and I go and I browse through patterns from my favorite designers and find some to recommend to y'all. Now, I haven't knit these patterns, but if I were to, like, in this theme be like, these are the patterns I'm going to knit, it's like imaginary knitting, and hopefully I will introduce y'all to some patterns you may not have seen and or some designers that you may not have seen. This is my part to help uplift other hardworking designers. Now, here we have today's request, and it seems kind of vague. Nathan said, great video, perhaps a Fave 5 on this topic. And what it was is he was commenting on a video from a couple weeks ago. I will put it in the description notes. That is, I was talking about unisex design, unisex and masculine leaning designs, because it's something that's a little bit challenging, and it's a fun video. If you're interested in that subject, I talk about what makes something more unisex or more masculine, and in the same way also more feminine. So it's a fun video. Go check it out. So of course, requests are great. That saves me having to figure out a topic. So I browsed through Ravelry and found what I thought were 5 amazing unisex, kind of skewing masculine, very definitely totally good for non-binary and mask presenting people, things that I think would be great to knit. Now, I have the information up on a screen over here, so you'll see me looking off screen. Just know that I'm trying to make sure I get all of my information correct. So first we are going to pop to here we go. I have permission to use these photos. This is Hank's Pullover by Jessie McKittrick. And really, I don't know that I even need to say anything about how fabulous this sweater is. I mean, obviously he looks awesome in it, but it would also look fantastic on a woman. The detail in the neckline is just absolutely gorgeous. That kind of crossover, not quite a shawl collar going on, but just that beautiful collar, and it's got wonderful texture in the body. You can't really see it here. There's a little ribbing on the bottom. It's a really straightforward, simple piece, but incredibly elegant. Just love it. So let's get us some details on this. This is a worsted weight yarn, and it calls for a US needle size 4 and 6. It was originally published in Interweave Knits, but is now available directly from the designer in both her Ravelry and her personal shop. That's one thing. All of these patterns I'm going to present to you are available through Ravelry, but also through an alternative source for those of you who cannot use Ravelry for one reason or another. So it comes in sizes available 38, 42, 46, 49.5 and 53-inch chest circumference. It says it takes between 1,430 and 2,090 yards. It was designed originally in Watershed by Harrisville Designs, which is a 100% non-superwash wool. But definitely, I think a lot of different worsteds would work great. Worsted is always good for knitting this type of garment. Now, do note I said that what it was originally designed in is not a superwash wool. It is a regular wool, so the structure of this sweater might rely heavily on the grabbiness of wool. So were you to decide to try to substitute a superwash wool in this pattern, I would really encourage you to swatch diligently and block your swatch, because superwash does has a tendency to grow fairly substantially. So you might need to knit at a little bit of a smaller needle than you would originally think. But this, I thought, kicked everything off with a bang. It is a gorgeous sweater, definitely unisex, depending on the color. You know, you could definitely take a color and move this more feminine, but definitely unisex to the masculine side. Okay, our next one, just absolutely adore these fingerless mitts. These are the Interlink Fingerless Mitts by Cynthia Levy. If you're looking to knit something a little bit smaller, everybody can't knit a sweater all the time. This is a fingering weight pattern that originally used Malabrigo Michita, which is a single ply, comes in many amazing colors that run the whole spectrum. I don't really ascribe to the idea that colors have gender, but you can definitely push patterns in one direction or another with your color choice, depending on the person who's going to wear it and what they prefer. This is knit on size 1 or 1.5 needles, so it's going to be pretty dense, keep you super warm. It comes in 2 different sizes. It has a small, medium, and then a large size. It says it takes between 160 and 200 yards. So you could probably even get 2 pairs of mitts out of 1 skein of yarn, because Michita looks like has 420 yards. So you're good to go. Let's see. She says these casual mid-length fingerless mitts feature a braid and cable panel interlinked over the top of the hand and comfortable ribbing for the palm and stockinette for the thumb. The left and right mitts are similar but not identical. The pattern includes written instructions with charted stitch patterns. So I think that means you kind of need to know how to do charts to do this. Yes, you definitely need charts for this. And she also says it's set up on the KC Designs. So if you have that program, you can use that. I just think it's gorgeous. It has a lot of that beautiful, intricate cabling and everything. I just thought it's great for anybody. It is, you know, as I said, unisex. That word's happening a lot because that is our theme. I think they look comfy and fun. I like the slight asymmetry of, if you can see, you've got ribbing, but the number of ribs between the thumb and where these 2 pieces come in like this, and then they look like they're slightly off center. So they kind of skew towards the center, which I think is, like, if you put your hands together, I think it's really cool. I think they're absolutely lovely. How that ribbing flows into the cabling is a beautiful design detail. It's something I love to see. Okay, those are the Interlink Fingerless Mitts by Cynthia Levy. Next, this one. This one is going to take some visualization on your part, okay? Because this is a riotous multicolor yarn, and it works great in this riotous multicolor yarn, but it may not scream either unisex or masculine depending on your color preferences. This is Changing Lanes by Kat Riddell, and I thought it would be a great piece. I do like the idea of men and unisex people wearing shawls. I don't think shawls are just for ladies, but as I discussed in the video, there are elements in shawls frequently found that skew them feminine. This particular pattern doesn't have any of those. I thought this particular pattern was a really good shawl to kind of get your feet wet in wearing shawls, because it's just good texture. You appear to have like a 1-1 ribbing, and then a heavier ribbing, like a fatter ribbing, and then a skinnier ribbing, and then I think up top, my finger won't go over there. It's over here someplace, up in this corner. Some stockinette maybe, or maybe that's still the 1-1 ribbing. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's enough change up to keep the knitting itself interesting. And obviously it's enough change up to keep this riotous colorway broken up and it looks great, but in a solid color, I think it would look just as beautiful, or in a more sedate, very color. I think it could be definitely, if you get into darker colors or just like a monochromatic look, maybe some browns would be really cool. Any number of options, but I definitely think this could be a great unisex piece. Now, let's see here. It calls for fingering weight yarn, a US size 7 needle. That's 4.5 millimeter. I haven't mentioned that before. Sorry about that, metric people. And it takes 820 yards. So you're going to be looking at 2 fingering weight skeins. You're looking at like 200 grams of fingering weight yarn. Says it measures 60 inches / 152.5 centimeters across, and then 25 inches, which is 63.5 centimeters deep. That is really deep for a shawl. Says changing lanes is perfect for all kinds of yarns, solids, tonals, speckles, so you can pull out any of your favorite skeins to knit it up. The shawl is fully reversible and features alternating sections of single and triple rib. I figured it out. Making it easy and portable, perfect for carting around in your bag or working on during your most recent binge watching endeavor. So I think as a shawl, if you're looking to make a shawl for someone in the unisex masculine range, this is a great option. Changing Lanes by Kat Riddell. Okay, another sweater. Couldn't resist this sweater. So this is the Timberline Lodge sweater by Kay Hopkins, also known as Knit for the Soul. It is a DK weight yarn that it calls for. The needle size is US 4 and US 3. That is 3.5 millimeter and 3.25 millimeter. One slightly smaller than the other. It comes in sizes extra small, small, medium 1, medium 2, large, extra large, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL. It's one of the reasons I love Kay Hopkins garments. She does a very wide range of pieces. She knit this originally she has a lot of suggested yarns. We are just looking for a DK weight. It looks like possibly you can also hold 2 strands of fingering double to get where you need to go, especially in that color work part. You're not going to need a huge amount of yarn, so you could double up on the fingering. And the designer says, Timberline Lodge is such a fun pullover to make and to wear. The color blocking is an easy textured stitch pattern that uses only 1 color per row. Ooh, that's intriguing. Is this slip stitch? I accidentally picked out. I really and truly thought this was a stranded piece, but it is apparently a mosaic piece. So that makes this even more exciting for me. Ribbing details. So it says gauge works for DK sport and heavy fingering yarn. So the pattern is very flexible. Ribbing detail at the shoulder really shows off the drop shoulder construction and makes it a perfectly unisex pullover. And so that's talking about this up here, making this drop shoulder, and you can see what's meant by drop shoulder is how this seam right here that I am pointing at with my mouse that you can't see because I'm not screen capturing. Sorry, I was using my mouse to point it out. So if you look, the seam, instead of being up here like a integrated, like a set-in or a raglan coming at an angle, it's dropped off the shoulder, which is why it's called a drop shoulder. I am ridiculous, people. And all kinds of great stuff. So the chest measurements are everywhere from 35 all the way up to 65 3/4 inches. That's 89 up to 167 centimeters. She's suggesting 4 to 6 or 10 to 15, 4 to 6 inches or 10 to 15 centimeters of positive ease here. So it is just absolutely, experience level is accessible to an adventurous advanced beginner. There's some short rows in there. It's just, and I wanted to also, this I really enjoyed. So this designer gave us photos of both the garment on a man and on a female that may even be her herself. I'm not certain. A lot of times, and this I know is a frustration to people, it's only shown on a woman, but a lot of times that's because designers are doing their own modeling because that's what they got. But so here we go. It looks great on both. And now that I know it's a mosaic pattern, I am extra stoked. So the last piece, again, gonna have to visualize with me on this one. And I had feelings about this. I actually asked my husband to come in to ask him if he would wear this in a different color palette. And he's like, yeah, especially because I'd be wrapping around my neck and tucking it into my top coat, stuff like that. I think this is a fantastic, somewhere between shawl scarf pattern for unisex / masculine leaning individuals. This is Sagittation. I'm going to say Sagittation and just going to stick with it. I have no idea what the actual word means. One of those things I'm sure that someone in the comments will let me know. By Shannon, Squire. This is a fingering weight. I got a little heavy on the fingering weight, y'all, here. It's what spoke to me. I wasn't really paying attention to yarn weight this time. I was just looking at design and how it fit my theme. US size 4 needle or 3.5 millimeter. It says it takes 600 yards. So you're looking about a skein and a half of fingering weight yarn. It says it is 85 inches, 216 centimeters long, and 8.5 inches, 21.5 centimeters wide. So it is a very wide, scarfy kind of situation. I really like the the chevron action that you're getting here. I think it's lovely. The alternating between the texture that I'm going to guess is garter and then this simple mesh sort of lace action, which this overall patterning, it's not a fine. I think it's really eyelets because it's not like a fine mesh lace. It's just eyelets that are alternating. It gives it an openness without it being feminine. It just turns it into like a graphic appearance. So that's why I selected this. I think it's really cool. And in these contrasting colors, I honestly don't think that this color palette is, I think this color palette is very unisex, but it is hard to visualize it because it's being modeled on a woman. I think this one in like a monochromatic. So if you did like a dark blue and a slightly lighter blue, it would definitely, and I just said blue, not meaning anything by it. It could be a dark burgundy and a lighter burgundy, but don't go too light because then you got pink. But I definitely think less of a contrast between the different panels would make it a little bit more subtle, or you could skip the different colors altogether. But I really enjoyed this one. Oh, here we go. Sagittate means arrow in Latin. She answered my question. I should have looked at that. It says this lovely summery scarf is a big fluffy arrow of awesomeness. Mix two colors or create your own sagittation, arrowness, I guess. And that could be really cool. Like you could do all the little arrowy bits in different colors, and that would be really interesting. So I really liked this particular pattern. Okay, back to here. So that was, we had the Hanks Pullover by Jessie McKittrick. We had the Interlink Mitts by Cynthia Levy. We had Changing Lanes, the cool ribbed shawl by Kat Riddell. Timberline Lodge, that awesome Mosaic sweater by Kay Hopkins, and Sagittation by Shannon, Squire. I think all of these are fun choices. Now, when I do these videos, sometimes I show y'all patterns of mine that fit the category, the theme, and I decided to do something a little different. And let me get to this button. Here we go. Nope, it's over here now. I actually made a page, like a collection on my PayHip page that you can see here, that are all just a few patterns that I think of mine that fit into this theme, that are definitely, I'm going to pull it over here so I can see it a little bit better, that are definitely unisex skewing masculine. A good scarf is completely unisex. This No Mr. Bond. This I specifically designed for my husband, and it's a men's width evening scarf. And what that means, it's extra wide and kind of short because it's designed to be worn over a top coat. I can't control my fingers. Fingerless mitts, textured. This is Codebreaker. You can see I got pictures on both. So this is a mosaic piece. Ring the gack. We've got a scarf. And this is, I did these two bulky cowls because my husband really likes cowls. And both of these are bulky. They have really present and assertive patterns on them. They're both cable-y. And I like them. This one even has the word burly in it, but that's because the yarn was named Burly. Here's I Can't Control My Brain, which is the hat that matches I Can't Control My Fingers. Curiosity. Curiosity is a shawl, but it's sort of a scarf, and it's a strange shape. It's a curious shape, and it is definitely one that was designed with colors and men in mind, but is definitely unisex. We've got some fingerless mitts. This is just a textured hat cowl, no gender there, and the matching hat that matches a good scarf. So I will put a link to this whole page over here now, this whole page, if you want to check out any of those patterns in greater detail. So there we go. That was Fave 5 Unisex, skewing towards masculine patterns that I thought would be fun if I were to put one on the needles right now. Love to hear what you think of these particular selections, if any of them really tickled your fancy or are going to jump right on your needles. And if you have suggestions for future Fave 5, please let me know. I do clip them and I keep them in a folder. I may not get to it immediately, but when I get to the point where I'm needing a little inspiration, I go to that folder and look through it to try to come up with another idea, because I try to do a Fave 5 the first Thursday of each month. So thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.